of Henry Richard, who I played with Montreal here, and it's nice to see him off to a fine start like he is.
Dick, we'll check with you at the end of the game for the three-star selection, and now here again is Ted Darling.
Okay, Dick, and now let's take a look at the standings in both the Eastern and Western divisions. First of all, in the East Division, the New York Rangers on top with a total of 18 points following their victory over Los Angeles this afternoon. Then Boston, Detroit, and Montreal all tied with 15 points each. Detroit leading Boston right now, and of course Montreal leading Toronto. They could move up ahead of Boston. Then Toronto in fifth spot with 10, Chicago in the cellar with 7. Over in the Western Division, St. Louis on top with 14. Then Oakland, Philadelphia, Minnesota all tied with 9 points each. Pittsburgh 7, Los Angeles in the cellar with 6. And here at the Forum in Montreal, the score at the end of 2 periods, the Montreal Canadiens 3, the Toronto Maple Leafs 2.
Your engine can let you down at the most inconvenient times. It doesn't take much. In fact, just this much engine deposit can stop your engine cold. Only new SO Extra with the engine cleaner prevents engine deposit buildup as you drive. Get clean start, clean performance. Keep running on new SO Extra with the engine cleaner for more miles of trouble-free motoring.
Montreal 3, Toronto 2 with the third period upcoming. And now, Dick Irvin has an important message.
The Muscular Dystrophy Association of Canada is now holding its annual drive for funds from coast to coast. 20,000 Canadians, mostly youngsters, are victims of this mysterious disease. Let your generosity help research find the cure. Help win the fight against muscular dystrophy.
Scoring in the game for Toronto, Oliver and Ullman. For Montreal, the mayor has 2 and Ted Harris has the other. Dick, I think that your favorite Western football team is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I know they'll be playing Calgary. I think that's your favorite team. And, of course, there's a big sudden death football game in the East tomorrow, Hamilton at Toronto.
Well, of course, this is the time, Danny, when football fever reaches the height in Canada. The Stampeders took care of Jackie Parker's BC Lions, but I still like my Jolly Green Giants to be down here in Montreal at the end of the month in the Grey Cup game.
Richard at center, Lemaire and Redmond on the wings for Montreal. Keon, Smith, and Oliver from the face-off. Oliver to Glennie, over on the other side to Dory. He winds up for the high drive. Harper racing in there to take over for Montreal. Third period underway, 3-2 for the Canadians. The pass for Richard. He couldn't come up with it, and Dory is back there for Toronto. Dory, ahead it goes to Keon. A pass intercepted by Lemaire, and Keon knocked it out. Harper for Redmond into Richard. Richard trying to come up with in the corner. He centers it. And Glennie feeds it up on the left wing. Redmond shooting it back in. And it's Lemaire romping to the other side against Floyd Smith. Richard goes in, and it's knocked out over the line. Oliver now turning on the speed, takes the shot. And Harper behind the net, losing it to Oliver. Out in front, it comes to Smith. He sectors and shot by Keon on the short side. And Vachon had to be quick by covering up on a low drive by Keon. Harper ahead for Richard. Horton hands it off to Smith. He takes the long shot toward Vachon. And the Leafs are making changes, so are the Canadians. Harper ahead on the right side for Redmond. Redmond down with Backstrom and Lemaire. And in there for Toronto is Ellis. He lost it. Horton recovers. Leading the attack for the Leafs. Ahead it goes to Ullman. He takes the long shot. Henderson couldn't get it. Vachon to Provo. Ahead to Backstrom. Lemaire coming up in the play. Here's Backstrom, and he couldn't get away from Quinn. Horton up on the right side. Ellis at center with Ullman and Henderson. They're over the line. Here's Ellis getting set for the shot. And a great save by Vashon on a fine move by Ellis. There it is off the boards to Ullman. Trying to dump it in front. Taken up the play by Harris. Puck is loose. Canadians can't get out. And Henderson wraps it back in. Harris over to Provo with Ferguson and Backstrom. Provo across the line, back to Backstrom. Here's Backstrom on the backhand. Hits beside the net on a shot by Provo. Ferguson leaving it on the board for Provo. He's checked by Ullman. Backstrom has it, getting set to center it, and the Leafs start out. It's Henderson out over the line. Ellis is trailing the long shot, and Henderson going to the board. Tying up here as Henderson has it. Henderson trying to get in front, takes the shot, and it's behind the net. Dory shooting it. There's going to be a penalty. Fulford missed the rebound off the board. Harris trying to clear it. Finally, Ferguson touched it.
Ted Harris will go off. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
Raw, brute power. That's what we built into our new battery. 35% more muscle than the next battery in our line. Made possible by unique polypropylene construction. It's so good we guarantee to replace it free if it fails to hold a charge while you open the Atlas Red Brute. There's a bit of the Brute in every Atlas battery. For a trouble-free winter, get an Atlas Red Brute from your Esso dealer.
Ted Harris, 2 minutes for slashing. The time, 2:53.
2:53, a slashing penalty against Harris. And the Leafs, who need a goal to get back on even terms with the Canadians, have their power play alignment of Fulford, McKinney, Selby, Glennie, and Ward. It's Glennie at center, goes to the right side, dropping it back to Ward. Ward feeding it in to McKinney. McKinney flipped it in wide. Now here's Selby with it. Back it comes to McKinney. He winds up for the shot. He's wide. It's to the other side to Glennie. Glennie shooting it in there around the net to the corner. Goes to McKinney, trying to center it out in front of Fulford. And he couldn't get the shot away. Savard dragging the puck for the Canadians. Russo is up front with him. Ferrier on defense with Harper. And we have 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining in the penalty to Harris. Selby to McKinney. He's over the line. A pass for Fulford. He missed it. Glennie takes the shot. Here's McKinney. Going toward the corner. Into the corner it goes. Selby couldn't center it. McKinney rolled it ahead, and Savard shoots it down the ice to Edwards. Johnny McClellan, the coach of the Leafs, now sending out Smith and Oliver. Fulford leading a 4-man Toronto attack. Up on the wing it goes to Oliver across the line. Oliver to the corner, centering it. It's off the boards, and Savard just cleared it out over the line. Now Keon comes on. Glennie, a pass to Ward. Ward right through center. It's picked up by Smith. Smith is over the line trying to feed it in front. Now Oliver turning in the corner. Back it comes to Keon over on the other side. It's got in there by Dory, and it's cleared finally into the corner. Oliver centering it. LaFerriere knocks it out over the line. Now Russo goes idles down there, but Ward has it. To Dory. Dory is over the line. Trying to get it in front, and Keon just failed to get in there to deflect it. Harper shooting it down the ice, and the penalized player, Ted Harris, is back on. Icing against Montreal. Chicago 3, Pittsburgh 1. Minnesota 2, St. Louis 0, Detroit 2, Boston 1. And with 5 minutes having been played in the third period here at the Forum in Montreal, Canadians 3, the Leafs 2. Savard against Ullman in the corner. Backstrom comes up with it. Now he's wheeling away with Provo. Over the line, ahead to Backstrom, and he just failed to catch up with it. To Ferguson, he's checked. Here's Ted Harris going in, takes the shot. Ferguson scores!
The Canadians have enjoyed great success tonight on rebounds, and John Ferguson was the man in the right place that time as the puck comes from the point. Harris letting it go. It bounces right onto Ferguson's stick, and in the same motion, he just fires it right back into the net. Edwards had no chance on the play. For John Ferguson, his third goal of the season.
Ted Harris et Ralph Backstrom à 5 minutes 18 secondes. Canadian goal scored by John Ferguson, assisted by Ted Harris and Ralph Backstrom. The time, 5:18.
5:18, Harris and Backstrom getting the assist on the goal by Ferguson. 4-2, Montreal. Ellis playing it up on the board. It's grabbed off by Glennie. He's down with Ullman over the line, dropping it back to Ullman, and he lost it on the boards to Severn. Down with Provo, over the line, back to Ferguson. The shot, it's wide. Now it comes in front of Backstrom, a rolling puck, a backhand shot that was missed by Severn. And there's going to be a penalty to the Montreal Canadiens. Henderson ahead to Ellis. He winds up. He rattled that shot off the leg of Ted Harris. Ferguson, it would appear, is going to get the penalty.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Snow tire sale. Big savings on the Atlas Winter Grip Safe and the Atlas Weather Guard S. Save on snow tires at your Esso dealers now.
John Ferguson in the penalty box.
Canadian penalty to John Ferguson, 2 minutes for cross-checking.
Cross-checking is a charge against Ferguson on the replay, right there in front of the Leafs net, and the double replay, you might say, on Ferguson's part, and he's in the box for the next 2 minutes. Davey Keon out there on the point. Keon has 2 assists tonight and has reached the 500-point mark in his fine NHL career.
Fulford, Selby, McKinney, Ward, and Keon for the Leafs. Selby cleared it to the corner. LaPerriere slapping it down the edge. Russo and Savard up front as penalty killers. Harper on defense with LaPerriere. Leafs getting their power play organized, led by their captain, Dave Keon. 4 of them out at center. Keon, a left wing pass to Fulford, and he couldn't get by Harper. Harper is upended. It's grabbed off. Keon, over it goes to McKinney. There's the shot, and it was blocked by LaPerriere. Here's Ward getting it back to Keon, back to Ward. He winds up for the shot off LaPerriere. LaPerriere upended by Selby. To the other side, Russo. He fails to clear it out. Back to Keon. Into the corner to Fulford. He flipped it to the side. And holding on to Basham. Minute and 10 seconds left in the penalty. Provo skating into the circle before Kepler got around to dropping the puck. Harper cleared it off the glass and then off Keon's stick. And he presents somebody with a souvenir. And with the Leafs having the advantage and contact made by a Leaf player with the stick above the shoulder, the face-off will go down into Toronto territory. That assist picked up by Bobby Orr means now that he is tied for the scoring leadership with Phil Goyette. Goyette has 7 and 12 for 19, or 2 and 17. Detroit 2, Boston 1 in the third. And the face-off, Keon. Getting organized for the Leafs up on the boards. It goes to center. A Perrier to Harper. He sends it back into Leaf territory. Keon ahead to Selby. Beaufort has the pass. McKinney is on the right side. They can't get by Harper. He's jammed in on the board. Beaufort is back for it. And we have 40 seconds left now in the penalty to Ferguson. The Perrier around the net, out on the right side. And Provo pokes it into the center ice area. There's Ward. He set up the power play goal earlier, scored by Ullman. Ward shoots it in and is called for icing against Toronto. 12-17 remaining in the hockey game. 4-2, Montreal leading Toronto.
A special feature coming up in the near future on Hockey Night in Canada will trace the traditional rivalry between these two great hockey organizations, the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. You'll see some classic hockey film from the early 1930s, plus, of course, highlights some key Stanley Cup games between the teams of the more modern era. That's a future feature here on Hockey Night in Canada.
Ullman facing off against Provo. Ellis has it in the corner. Henderson is the other forward for Toronto. Henderson has it on the wing, dropping it back to Dory. Dory, a right wing pass. Ellis racing in against the Perrier. Henderson trying to keep it in there. It goes loose to the boards. Provo shooting it out over the line. Ferguson now has 2 seconds remaining in his penalty. Back on. And the Perrier and the Harper were particularly strong on the Canadiens' defense, with the Leafs having their power play out there. It's Provo coming down with Backstrom. Provo trying to get around Dory. Now Glennie feeds it ahead to Ullman. Ellis is coming up on the play. Over for Ellis, getting set for the shot, and he's wide to the far side. Provo clearing it into the center ice area. Savard picks up a Glennie pass. Edwards picking it off to Glennie, who got an elbow from Ferguson. Now Henderson out over the line at center. Ellis coming up. A quick shot, and he rattled that one off the outside of the goalpost. Henderson did. Harris playing it to the far corner. Cournoyer with Backstrom. Ahead for Backstrom. Ferguson coming up on the play. Backstrom shoots it. And Edwards had no difficulty with that shot. Horton for the Leafs, hitting the Montreal line. Working on the right side. Dropped it back. Picked up by Lemaire. Ahead to Richard. Richard getting set for his shot. And a gloved hand stopped there by Edwards. At Quinn. Off the skate of Keon. It goes to Smith. His pass for Oliver, stopped by Redmond. Lemaire winds up for the long shot. We're nearing the midway mark in the third period. And it's 4-2, Montreal leading Toronto. Savard cleared it out. Oliver returns it. Now Harris to Lemaire. Checking, getting a bit close again. Oliver, a back pass over to the left side. Redmond to Richard. Keon couldn't come up with it. Richard coming down with Redmond. Redmond has it on that right wing. He's shooting it on the right side. He shoots. Edwards, the rebound on there. He goes! A hat trick for Lemaire.
And in every case with Lemaire for his 3 goals tonight, he's picked up a rebound. Here it is in the end zone camera as Redmond sweeps in. Edwards makes a great save on this shot. As Redmond lets it go. There's the save, but he kicks the rebound out in front with his stick, actually. Richard misses on the try as Edwards falls, and Lemaire drills it. Edwards was up on his knees trying to catch the puck, but couldn't quite make it.
Canadien goal scored by Jacques Lemaire, assisted by Mickey Redmond and Henri Bichot. The time, 10:09.
10:09, Lemaire with Redmond and Richard assisting. 5-2, Montreal leading. McKinney back in with Beaufort. McKinney takes the shot wide. Selby racing to the far wing against Cournoyer. Harper having difficulty clearing it out. Dory for the lead. Slipping it in, Belleville. Starting out with Cournoyer and Rousseau. Belleville. A pass for Rousseau, but Cournoyer got in too quickly on the right wing. The attendance tonight, 17,811. Dory to Beaufort. Selby at center over for McKinney. McKinney into the corner. Stops to get away from LaPerriere. McKinney doing some fine work on the boards. Out it goes to Dory. He takes the shot, and he hit Harper with it. Harper ahead for Belleville down with Rousseau. Belleville over the line. Sliding on the ice for Selby to stop Belleville. Out to the right wing boards. Here's Harper winding up for his shot. It goes wide. Then over to Cournoyer. And he missed as he stood at the lip of the crease. Harper hauls it in with 3 Canadians stranded. 8:43 left.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
You never can tell when your engine will let you down. Just this much engine deposit can stop your engine cold. Only new SO Extra gasoline with the engine cleaner prevents engine deposit buildup as you drive. Get clean starts, clean performance. Keep running on new SO Extra with the engine cleaner for more miles of trouble-free motoring.
8:48 left in the game. 5-2 Montreal over Toronto. Ellis, Allman, and Henderson facing Backstrom, Ferguson, and Provo. Ted Harris back into his own zone. Allman chasing him to the corner. Provo was bumped. Pellick is on the ice for the first time, number 4. Ferguson ran into Henderson. Canadians shooting it into Leaf territory. There's Pellick with it. Up on the boards for Henderson. Henderson getting skating room. A right wing pass to Ellis. Ellis circles and is knocked off the stick by Backstrom. So Ellis is going to try it again. Gets away from Backstrom, this time stopped by Provo. With Backstrom. Offside against the Canadians.
Danny, one question that a lot of fans were asking when they came into the Forum tonight, where were you when the lights went out? We had quite a power failure in Montreal. In fact, in a large part of Quebec province here today, most areas around here were totally without power for from 3 to 4 hours this afternoon.
Taking up my position on the first tee was delayed as a result of the power failure. Had we had it tonight, it would be serious as far as the hockey game is concerned. Of course, more serious for everybody at night. Here's Ferguson on the left side, shooting it in. Edwards left it for Pellick. Pellick, a pass stopped by Provo. He feeds it into the corner. Ferguson going in after Horton. Ferguson is knocked to the ice. Here's a shot by Harris. Ferguson knocked to the ice by Horton. Here's Pellick racing for Toronto. He's down on the line. A back pass to Ullman. That's offside against Toronto. 7:36 remaining.
One of John Ferguson's theories is that Tim Horton is perhaps the strongest player he faces in the National Hockey League. And Ferguson had that theory driven home in rather vigorous fashion down in the corner just a few seconds ago. Horton really belted him into the glass.
Keon trying to work his way through. LaPerriere gets it out over the line finally. Here's Glennie going in with Keon into the corner. Keon racing in after it, trying to center it. Harper hands it off to Lemaire. He's the big scoring story here tonight. Lemaire is with 3 goals. And there's an offside call by Shetler. 5-2, Montreal leading Toronto. Keon getting it back to Dory. He takes a high drive in among the spectators. And watching Davy Keon out there, Dick, he has come up with a sizable growth of hair since last year. He's had a lot of great moments in many, many rinks, Keon has. This is not a come for his leg. But I think his biggest moment would have to be here in a playoff game. I think it would be 1963 when the Leafs eliminated the Canadiens, score 3-1, and Keon got all 3 goals. There he is over after Harper on the far side. Oliver comes up with it. Leperrier being watched by Keon. Richard working in the corner, dropping it back. Oliver intercepts over, goes to Keon, a backhand shot, Dory scores!
Jim Dory scoring the goal for the Maple Leafs to make it a 5-3 hockey game as Dave Keon picks up his 3rd assist here tonight on the play from out in front. As Keon backhands the puck right there, it bounces over to the side, and Dory, sweeping in, fires it high into the net behind Vashov. So with 6:47 left in the hockey game, the Leafs now have narrowed the gap to a 2-goal margin.
Alexander de Keon et Murray Oliver à 13 minutes 13 secondes. Toronto goal scored by Jim Dory, assisted by Dave Keon and Murray Oliver. The time 13-13.
13-13. Nothing unlucky about 13s there for Dory. He gets his first goal of the year, 5-3. Cournoyer passes it over on the wing, intercepted by Fulford up to Pellick. Pellick lobbed it toward the corner. Savard around the net. It goes to Russo, being watched by Horton. Now Russo starts out, makes a nice move to get away from Fulford. Over goes for Cournoyer. Russo goes over and knocks it off the stick of Pellick, and it goes over the glass. Late in the 3rd period, Detroit 2, Boston 1. And it's still Chicago 3, Pittsburgh 1. They're into the 3rd period, well into the 3rd period. And Minnesota 2, St. Louis nothing. And these two great rivals, Minnesota and St. Louis in the West Division, Dick, I would think that they have a complete sellout in Minnesota tonight, Bloomington.
There has been no line juggling here tonight. Ruel and McClellan sticking pretty well the way they started out the game. The center ice matchups all through the game have been Keon against Richard, Fulford against Beliveau, and Ullman against Backstrom.
And right now it's Fulford against Beliveau. Canadians with the defense of Harris playing up at Savard. There's a shot right on. Kicked out by Ebrich. The centering pass cleared away by Pellick. Russo trying to get it. Selby knocks it to the far right wing. McKinney starting up with Fulford, cutting down through center. Fulford goes into the corner around the net. Fulford getting set to center it. He still has it. It comes back. There's Pellick taking a weak shot. Savard for Montreal. Working his way out. A pass for Beliveau. Over the line with Russo. Beliveau trying to set up Russo. And a great defensive maneuver by Horton, who got his stick down on the ice. McKinney for Toronto. Couldn't get by Harris. Savard with Beliveau way over on the wing. Russo has it. Russo across the line. And Pellick takes over for the Leafs. Pellick coming out with Ullman, Henderson, and McKinney. Now McKinney goes to the bench and Ellis comes on. Harris's pass stopped by Henderson. Over the line, Henderson shooting it wide. Ellis chopped it around the net. Cournoyer playing it to the other side. And Ted Harris has it out to Backstrom. Backstrom a pass for Cournoyer with Ferguson. And it's called on the offside. Now we have less than 5 minutes. 4:43 left.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
Two Atlas snow tires are on sale now. The Atlas Winter Grip Safe, a great all-around snow tire. Only $18.88, no more. And the Atlas Weather Guard S, a top snow tire value for no more than $23.88. Studs for these tires are also on sale. So slip down to a participating Esso dealer now.
Prices quoted are for the 775-14 Blackwall. Atlas snow tires for a trouble-free winter from Esso.
Lining up for the face-off, just in over the Canadian blue line. Harper gets it out to Backstrom. Over now it's Henderson going in, a pass to Ellis. Ellis cutting, takes the shot, he hits beside the net. He gets it into the crease. And Vachon had to be very alert on his speedy yellow to pick up the rebound off the miss and then flipped it into the crease.
He certainly had to be alert, Danny. Here's the replay as Ellis comes down around LaPerriere on that right side. Watch that puck bounce right out in front of Vachon. He pounces on it with Henderson standing right there.
Back it goes. Glennie winds up for the shot. Backstrom starting out with Ferguson and Provo. One man back. Backstrom over to Ferguson, and he shot it high and wide. Provo getting set. Takes the pass. Now he centers it to Backstrom. Backstrom checking Ullman. They fight for it. And Ullman cleared it out over the line. Harper feeds it back in. And now we have exactly 4 minutes left in the hockey game. Glennie ahead of goal. Dory racing in there, and he almost barged right in there. Dory has scored one of the Leaf goals. Now it was gloved ahead, Provo to Ferguson, and that's the reason why it's called back.
The Chicago Blackhawks have taken a 4-1 lead over Pittsburgh in the third period. Pat Stapleton scoring Chicago's fourth goal, unassisted at 6:16. The Blackhawks off to a very shaky start this season, but they seem to be well underway tonight to winning their fourth game in their last 5 outings, so they are coming on.
And they started that very successful string right here at the Forum 2 weeks ago when they bombed the Canadians 5-0. There's Horton on the backhand. It goes off Richard. Keon playing a great game as usual for the Leafs. Couldn't center it. Richard, a lead pass for Redmond on the right side, and the shot is wide. There's a shot right on there, and he almost had his fourth goal of the night. And there can get that shot away very, very quickly. Redmond clearing it in over the Leaf line. Horton being watched by Richard. Out to center, Harris comes up with it to Redmond. He backhands it to the corner. Richard against Pellick, and Pellick is bumped by Redmond. Redmond trying to center it. Let's see, there may be a penalty here. Redmond and Pellick shoving each other vigorously. Oliver and Lemaire doing some shoving. And who's that that's waltzing there with Harris? Pellick and Redmond getting in some right hands.
Started a few seconds ago on the original play down into the Leaf zone when these two players, Pellick and Redmond, collided in exactly that same spot. And that time they went at it again. I believe Pellick was getting a penalty in the original call. And then they ended up trading punches over the linesman's shoulder. And I think, Danny, as you mentioned, both of them landed some pretty good right hands. Now, Pellick in particular let one go that seemed to find the mark. Well, there's the usual scene of the scattered gloves and sticks when it's all over.
I think they did that to the accompaniment of Waltzing Matilda, didn't they? It was Ward who was moving around there with Ted Harris. There's Mickey Redmond, 24. The linesman, Bob Myers.
I had to smile at Lemaire and Oliver, normally a couple of mild-mannered chaps on the ice, and they were locked in a loveless embrace. They ended up on the ice. No punches thrown in that case. And there's Mickey Redmond. And as usual, the hometown player in a situation like that gets the round of applause. And obviously Redmond is being assessed a 5-minute penalty because he's on his way to the dressing room. And there's the boos that greet the Maple Leaf player as he starts for his own bench, and now they head back to the penalty box. So Ashley is sorting this one out now over at the timer's bench.
3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the game. 5-3. Montreal 5, Toronto 3. Pellick went over toward the penalty box. Now he's going to the Leafs dressing room. He also, in all probability, has picked up a major, although somebody had been signaling for a minor, and it could be double minor. There's a great shot of Pellick.
Got end zone cameras. We even got one in the corridor now. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Cash in on the cold weather protection of Esso-Rad antifreeze. Now only $2.95 a gallon at participating Esso dealers.
So we're like you have two majors and a minor. An extra penalty to Pellick for 2 minutes. His name, or at least his numbers on the board indicating 2 minutes. He's out for the game. There's him.
Pour le Canadien, Mickey Redmond, 5 minutes pour Saint-Laurent. The penalty to Toronto, Mike Pellick, 2 minutes for cross-kicking and 5 minutes for fighting. And to Canadien Mickey Redmond, 5 minutes for fighting. The time, 16:55.
16:55. Two majors and a minor, with coincident majors, of course. You have the Canadians playing with a full complement. The Leafs are shorthanded. Beliveau tries to get it. It comes back to the line. Savard slides the pass over to Ted Harris. Smith is sitting out the minor for Pellick in the penalty box. Now Beliveau coming up with it. Plays it off the boards for Savard. Savard going in there. Into the corner. He turns, getting set for a pass out to Russo. And he booms one off the glass. Cournoyer trying to center it. It comes in front. It's cleared to the left wing to Selby. Selby ahead to Pulford. Pulford coming down against Ted Harris. Pulford couldn't get by Harris. 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. 5-3 Montreal. Savard couldn't get by Glennie. He's waiting for Selby to come up with him. Glennie has it. Plays it over off the left wing board. Pulford winds up for the shot, and he hits Savard with it. Savard out slowly now with Beliveau and Russo. On the other side, it's Cournoyer who takes it. Cournoyer trying to get it in front to Savard. Dory couldn't get it out. They score! Russo!
Bobby Russo has scored a couple of goals this year and a quick shot just like this. And here we see Dory with the puck trying to flip it down the ice, but it is deflected right onto Russo's stick, and he just lets it go right back, and Edwards got flat-footed on that one. 6-3 the score for Bobby Russo, his fourth goal of the season. 1:56 left to play in the game.
Scored by Robert Russo, unassisted. The time, 18:04.
Unassisted Russo. 18:04. Here's Henderson going in. Takes the shot. He couldn't get complete control of it, but he was on the target with Vachon coming out. Backstrom over to Provo. Down with Ferguson. The lead pass broken up by Quinn. Provo hooked it in there over the line. Offside. That scoring play. Russo with Pellick off at 18:04. Montreal 6, Toronto 3. LaPerriere over for Harper to Provo. Horton going in to cover up for the Maple Leafs with Backstrom in pursuit. A lead pass goes out over the line now with Ullman in possession. Ullman in Canadian territory slides it over to Quinn. Quinn off the boards. A weak shot. Provo try to clear it out. Harper off the boards to Backstrom on the left wing for Ferguson. Ferguson shoots it. Edwards hands it off to Horton. And now, in this hockey game, we have exactly 1 minute remaining. Quinn playing it ahead off the stick of Ullman. It goes to Ellis. He winds up for the hard shot, grabbing the rebound before it hit the ice with Vachon, with Henderson racing right in there. And Vachon played a lot of hockey for the Montreal Canadiens this season. He has played 10 of their 13 games, and he has played the last 8 games. He's been hot since that night. Chicago got 5 goals beyond him. Don't forget, Dickie Moore will be on hand with the 3-star selection at the conclusion of the game, which is exactly 42 seconds away. Back to McKinney at the Leaf line. Now Glennie on the right side plays it to the boards to Fulford. Richard try to set up Lemaire. Glennie with Fulford, McKinney shooting it in. Savard. He's played a great game for the Canadians tonight. Ahead to Richard, to Russo. Russo into the corner. Shoots it around the net. Lemaire. Glennie takes over against Richard. Now Lemaire shoots it right in front of the Leaf net. Dory ahead for Selby, and he couldn't get it. And they're beginning to count off the seconds. There are 5 remaining. Savard in behind the net, being watched by Selby. Selby severing it. The game is over, and Montreal defeats Toronto 6-3.
Shots on goal in the third period by Montreal, 14 by Toronto, 9. In just a moment, our 3-star selection and summary.
Once I told you 1,000 times the shower is cold. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Why don't you pay the cooler oil and rent an Esso water heater?
Rent an Esso water heater?
Yes, you can rent an Esso water heater. And right now, you get the first 2 months rent-free. And you get lots and lots of hot water. 3.5 times faster than gas and up to 8.5 times faster than electricity. Watch. In 15 minutes, you get this much hot water from electricity and this much from gas. But you get 20.5 gallons of hot water from an Esso oil-fired water heater. Rent an Esso water heater now and get the first 2 months rent-free. It's really something to sing about.
Mesdames, Messieurs, voici maintenant les 3 étoiles pour le match de ce soir, telles que choisies par Robert Pépin et Dickie Moore. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the 3 stars of tonight's game as selected by Robert Pépin and Dickie Moore. La première étoile, the first star, Jacques Lemaire. La deuxième étoile, the second star, Serge Savard. Et la troisième étoile, the third star, Dave Keon.
Well, not much doubt about the first star tonight. Jacques Lemaire, a real opportunist for the Canadians, scoring 3 goals. Other Montreal goals tonight by Ferguson, Rousseau, and Harris. It was Ullman, Oliver, and Dory scoring for the Maple Leafs. The shots on goal, the game total, the Canadians out shooting Toronto 47-25, and Montreal won the game 6-3. Hockey Night in Canada continues in just a moment.
Atlas snow tires. They're on sale at your Esso dealer now. 2 kinds. The Atlas Winter Grip Safe. Quiet running, 4-ply nylon, super low profile design, a great all-round snow tire for only $18.88, no more. And the Atlas Weather Guard S, even wider and lower. It's got more traction than the Grip Safe, but it's quieter. A top snow tire value for no more than $23.88. Atlas studs for the Grip Safe and the Weather Guard S are also on sale. Bargains like these won't last forever, so why let it slide? Slip down to a participating Esso dealer now.
Prices quoted are for the 775-14 Blackwall. Atlas snow tires for a trouble-free winter from Esso.
Now let's meet the first star in tonight's hockey game, Jacques Lemaire's 5th, 6th, and 7th goals of the year. And Jacques, I think this is your first hat trick, is that right?
That's right, and I'm very glad I've done it this year. My first 2 years, I tried to get run, and I guess I didn't have enough chance, but tonight was my night.
Well, here's the goal coming up now, the third goal in that third period after Mickey Redmond took the shot, and then Edwards tried to clear it back, and it goes all the way back to you, and you once again a man in the spot as you were when you picked up those first 2 goals. What happened on the first 2?
First 2, the first one, I guess, is that the one that Ted Harris had the shot?
That's when Cornway had the long shot.
Yeah. He had the shot just near the blue line, and I was going on Edwards. The puck, he made the save. The puck went right on my stick, and I had the open net.
Of course, you picked up the second goal. And then the third one in the third period for the hat trick, and now you've got quite a road to go now going
Yes,
out west.
we've got 4 or 5 games on the road. It's going to be pretty hard because we've got injuries, like GC is a good man for us, and I guess we're coming along good on the road.
Jacques Lemaire, thanks very much, and good luck on that trip out west.
Thank you.
Now let's go back up to Dick Irvin.
Elsewhere in the NHL tonight, the Chicago Blackhawks lead Pittsburgh 4-1. That game in the third period. It's Detroit over Boston 2-1. Also in the third, Minnesota over St. Louis 2-0 in the second. This afternoon, New York defeated Los Angeles 4-1. And so the final score: the Montreal Canadiens 6, the Toronto Maple Leafs 3. This is Dick Irvin bidding you good night from the Forum in Montreal.
Brought to you by Molson, brewers of new Festival Lager beer. Imperial Oil and Esso dealers, agents, and distributors. And Ford, the Better Idea Company, with better products for you.
Hockey Night in Canada is protected by copyright. Unauthorized reproduction by any means, in whole or in part, is not permitted.
CBC's Electronic Highway brings personalities in major centers across Canada together for a discussion on the vital subject of pollution. Next on CBC Weekend.
Imperial Oil, on behalf of your neighborhood Imperial Esso dealer, presents Hockey Night in Canada. Tonight, the highlights of the final game of the Stanley Cup Finals between Montreal Canadiens and Detroit Red Wings. And here's Wes McKnight.
How do you do, sports fans? This is Wes McKnight. This is the big night in the National Hockey League, the final game for the Stanley Cup for 1955. It's the second year in a row that Montreal Canadiens and Detroit Red Wings have come right down to the seventh game before declaring the Stanley Cup championship. No team in this series so far has been able to win a game away from home.